Required for the execution of global plans. 2.1 The global sociology. The global sociology is the scientific study of the life and social behavior of humans as cultures, societies, and countries that interact with each other globally, and the study of global social structures and their global functioning to reach global objectives. The global sociology is the basis for the design and execution of global plans. Every human being thinks, feels, judges and takes actions through the social values of his culture. Through social values, people interpret their past, its history, and visualize the future. The design of the global social values is the tool that allows us to create the future of the humanity. The reality only makes sense for people, through their social values they had acquired in his growth, allowing him to interpret reality and guide their decisions in the society. The social values of a culture is the creation of the social reality. People usually do not notice his own social values until they leave their society. In other societies they realize that behaviors that are absolutely rejected in their society are accepted in others, and behaviors that are normal in their societies are rejected in other societies. This is the understanding that the mental reality each person has is created through social structures. We need the global sociology to focus in the execution of global project for global problems and needs. We need to create new values and a new perception of the past and future of our cultures related to the execution of global plans. We need to create and modify social global institutions for the execution of global plans. We need to create new global behaviors and global methodologies of work at global level. We need to formalize the sociological global methodologies for the creation and execution of plans. 2.2 The global sociology is an specialization for global plans of the Global Association. It implies investigation, a group of members who investigate the different cultures and their social integration. Specialization, members specialized in different areas of global sociology. Training, important and required for the certification as an global agent of change of the Global Association. 2.3 The need of new global institutions for the creation and execution of plans. The global project that manages the global plans, creating, storing, sharing, etc. The global association that manages the global project, capture of global agents of change and coordination of their work in the execution of the global plans. The community association, a delicate step to get people of each community to work together in the work of food, water, and oxygen. You can see it as a simple task, but in experiment made by the NASA, people who worked in that way, at the end of the experiment, stopped talking each other. The reason was complexity of interacting permanently with your neighbors, but new global social values of respect, independence, and kindness will help to endure this task. 2.4 The Japanese sociology is the model for the global sociology. Japan has a very complex and complete sociology, very similar to what we need to apply globally sociologically. A very large and complex set of social values, Japanese taught directly or through stories to the new generations. Through their history developed curious values, like learning to resolve the conflicts by themselves, turning behavior like giving importance to oneself or bother with personal problems to others, or rejecting an invitation, as a fault of respect. And at the same time developed a responsibility for the survival of future generations. Old people voluntarily quit to ask help, risking their own lives, to guarantee younger people to receive help. These behaviors requires a psychological compensation, that means a behavior of respect is required to higher people, but that higher people answer that respect with sacrifice and positive work toward the people they head. The concept of the global association, of sacrifice for future generations, kindness and respect had been copied from Japanese culture, and the association will promote Japanese culture, because many of their values are taught through anime, like Naruto, One Piece, Magi the Labyrinth of Magic, Attack on Titan, etc. Is interesting to note that Japanese behavior promote their inner child behavior, in the language, using onomatopoeia as words, and customs like having pets in organizations. that is something the association want to copy and integrate too, because finally the inner child is the mind each person has that holds the emotional connections with people they know, the ties of gratitude and love with his family and his society. For that reason the association is not impersonal like a usual formal organization. The association is designed as a group of agents of change, greedy, selfish people, with a big dream to reach. And the association promote and accept that behavior, but under a positive way. 2.5 Global Social Change. The global social change is a social function covered by the global sociology. Any change in the society takes time and must follow several guidelines to avoid creating resistance and to be effective and have timing. The global change must be done in the correct way to avoid aggression against agents of change. Sometimes the people who are making the social change, the agents of change, don't understand how to make a social change, and that cause resistance and their impatience causes the failure of the process of change. 2.6 Information and coordination of global social changes. The Global Project and Global Association will give information and will coordinate the global changes projects, from the most simple changes, from reposition smoking as a not healthy behavior until the creation of laws to prohibit it. There is a gradual process, that takes decades across the globe, but doing it correctly, it happen. 2.7 Guidance to agents of change. The Global Project and Global Association will bring help to agent of change who want to make changes in their society in the understanding of the best process of change for his community and society, the process of change itself, and the specific change he wants to execute, with respect to the individuality of his society and leader. 2.8 The rules for the global social game. There are some social laws that we must set formally to allow any individual develop his own life and family. Respect to individuality and freedom of choice, the right for any man or woman to choose to be inside the local community association. Respect to individuality and freedom of choice of societies. If a leader decides to impose a democratic, social, or a dictatorship in a country, that is the decision of a country that must be solved by themselves. Because force to an individual or society to act in the correct way, means it can be forced to act in the wrong way too. The respect to individuality is respect to the equilibrium. The important is not the national security, or anonymous, or normal people, or police. The important is the different groups can exist and they control each other. The respect of the different groups implies the possibility of the existence of mutual control and protection of the common values of the society, values that evolves with the time and in different ways in each social group. 2.8.1 The improvement in the global vision of humanity aspects. If you allow communism, socialism, or capitalisms, you allow a country develop by themselves and show the world their benefits and disadvantage of each one. If we allow a tyranny in one country, you understand and recognize what you have, and take prevision that doesn't happen in your society. Additionally, the fact the Global Project and Global Association does nothing against the countries respecting their individuality, doesn't means there are not other institutions who cares on that, and helps them, or other people who are trying to move from communism to capitalism or vice versa. The point here is the Global Project and Association has a clear goal, and the respect of the individuality of each country is essential to be recognized as a global social institution. 2.8.2 The respect to the leader. The internal respect of the association to the leader of a country as the father of a family. And the external respect to the decision of a leader, is too part of the respect to the individuality of a country. The changes are done with the leader, not against the leader. If the leader is changed, most of the people in the government will stay in their positions. If the leader is attacked, the efforts will be to defend and attack, instead of resolve problems. In the Japanese culture the strikes are done working more, but in the other hand if a leader is insulted and attacked he answer working harder and demonstrating he is a good leader, because it is a cultural concept the work and the society is a family. 2.9 The new global social values. Is the need globally see things in a different way. We had started to see things globally and we have a concept of being only one planet, and we must continue creating new global values, i.e. 2.9.1 The global social value of irrelevance of the past. Any culture looking 300 years in the past has the fair right to take vengeance for an unfair abuse they suffered in the past by some other culture. You can't use a past event as an excuse to execute an aggression. You only can see the present and take the best decision based on the current situation. 2.9.2 The global social value of returning to new generation what you received. This means if you are alive, is because you received from previous generations all that allowed you to succeed in your survival, and is your responsibility to give it back to the new generations. 2.9.3 The responsible design of global basic products. The design of any global basic product must be thinking that it must be designed for 9 million inhabitants of the world. That implies the analysis of the different designs. These means you must think very well before doing a product. You need a project and a group of support to design and specify the best way to do it. The global industry can't be casual, it must be responsible and planned globally by a global institution that coordinates all the knowledge. 2.9.4 Positive expectation. Independently of their past, expect the relation and behavior of a country will be positive. 2.9.5 Kindness. People has enough problems, and kindness is necessary to carry forward any kind of relation, especially a global relation that has complex problems and relations. 2.9.6 Positive distortion of reality. The association keep the positive memories. In a normal family or in the work, there are problems, but there is a positive spirit of survival that guides to remember the memories of positive facts and leave out the memories negative facts. This positive distortion of reality is necessary, and is work of the global association to keep the memory of the positive action a country did for others. The kindness reinforce this positive distortion, the care of the small details, birthdays, special events, etc. The positive distortion requires reinforce of social values and customs. 2.9.7 Live without regrets of decisions done in the past. This is for a person who made mistakes in the past, and living in the mistakes avoid he can continue having a positive life. This is about leaving the past in the past. This is about not having to permanently apologize for what you had done in the past. But yes, to have a positive life for the society. This apply to other members of the society, their victims, once where regret is past, do not blame, and forgive him, and focus in a positive relation in the future. 2.9.8 The need to sacrifice something to get another thing. This is a concept of limitation of resources and time. You can get what you want in life, but when you decide to take something, you are implicitly sacrificing other things. This helps to understand the limitation of our resources and time of life we have in our life, and to be conscious of the consequences of any decision we take. We can't have everything, we can't do everything, we have to think in what we ask on our lives. 2.9.9 Moderation in the consumption. If you take too much, if you use too much, you will be using thing, and space other people needs. 2.10 Absolute truths to interpret the world. We need globally to have clear concepts that bases our human relations. The nature is cruel, the humans are like mouses, are the motivation to strive for you and others. The nature is cruel, the humans are like mouses, human-like mouses eat themselves when there is no food, but they can be kind and responsible, but they need to strive for themselves, their families and society. This can seem inoffensive, but is true. By default people is selfish. This is important because makes people understand other people don't have to help you, and if they do, you must express gratitude in some way. You need to strive to give and receive. To think by default people is good by default, is like believe in Santa Claus. People expect everything free, doesn't express gratitude, and create problems when they should express gratitude because other people are stealing the God blesses. That means is not the people who help other people, is God who is helping everyone. Is a belief you receive everything without doing anything, without striving for yourself and your family, a belief that you deserve the best and you don't have to express gratitude for that. And this happens not only to people, it happens to countries. For that reason is important to set clearly humans are selfish, and if they are good, is because they are striving not only for themselves else for you too. And if you don't strive you can't take care of yourself, be a good person for you and others. It allows to understand and accept the fraud that exists in any human group, accepting the crime and bad behavior as a default behavior. To accept the nature is cruel, is the same, that each species lives eating other species create in the mind the understanding God doesn't gives you everything, you must protect against nature to you and your family, you must strive to survive and be responsible and protect the nature too. 2.10.1 The global sociology of the global industry. The current problem of water and food is not only caused by the greenhouse gases, it is the overpopulation, fault of global coordination of industries, personal interests, criminal groups, etc. But for the execution of global plans we need a special work in the sociology of the global industry and recreate how it will have to work.